There we go. What's up, everybody? Thanks for hanging out with us. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. We roll into hour number 3. Fun show so far. We'll keep it rolling for the next 60-ish minutes. All right, so we didn't get to, guys, the linebackers and the safeties, because we're kind of looking at positions of the draft, guys coming out, and what could be needs here for the Eagles. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to take one of these positions in the first round. In fact, the odds are not great that they would do that, since they never do with safety and linebacker. But started looking at some of the guys who are coming out, who could be options if they choose. Let's run through them a little bit here with safeties. I think the best of the lot is Brian Branch from a versatility standpoint. Also a guy who could play the slot too, if needed. I mean, he's got great versatility here. And we know, you feel a lot better about Bama guys coming out than you do some other schools. So Barrett, let's start with that one. Let's start with Brian Branch. What your thoughts are on him? And again, would he be there for the Eagles? I don't know how it's going to work out.
He'll be there. He'll definitely be there at the 10th pick, but I think that's evaluating him too high.
Yeah,
I think you can probably get him early first, early second, late first. He's a CJGJ. He's a hybrid. He's not necessarily a safety that you would put at the back end. He's not a center fielder, but he is a guy that can do a lot, very versatile in how he plays the position.
Great tackler. He's only missed 4 tackles in his
right. So he plays around the box. He didn't have that size that you want from a big cornerback, but he's not a guy that you can keep, you don't have to worry about him covering in the slot, a receiver in the slot. You can put him on a tight end. You can put him on a running back. You can put him around line of scrimmage. You can blitz him. You can probably teach him to play that center fielder. He probably has the talent to do it, but he's by far the best safety in this draft.
Let me throw some other names out there. There's some other guys who may be of interest.
Antonio Johnson
from A&M.
XM.
Beast. I don't think you go wrong with either one of those guys. Tell you the
no,
truth.
Not at all. He's got size too. He's 6'3".
Yeah,
big guy.
He's big. He looks like a linebacker.
Yeah, he does. Come up and thump.
Yeah.
Sidney
Robinson.
Brown.
You like Brown? I like Brown. Yep.
I like Sidney Brown too. Yeah.
Jamie Robinson of Florida State, J.L. Skinner, Boise State, just a couple that could potentially be there.
J.L. Skinner is a kid like Cam Chancellor. He's 6'4", 210, and he can cover a lot of field, and he's a thumper also. I like the kid. He doesn't get a lot of notoriety.
Who'd you say that was?
The J.L. Skinner out of Boise State. He's a big kid. The one kid I really like is a kid out of Florida State, Jamie Robinson. Now, he's a little bit smaller at 5'11", 200. But Florida State has this knack for turning out pretty good center fielders when it comes to safeties, for whatever they do down there.
It's true.
And this kid, he's a sure tackler. He can cover a lot of ground. The one thing that concerns me about all the top safeties on the board this year, which is a little out of the norm, is all of them that you're going to mention, their best 40 times are like 4.52, 4.58, 4.59. They're not those Blazers sideline to sideline that you get every draft you get one or two that can hit that 4.3, 4.4. But some of these guys, a couple of them in the box type safety, like Antonio Johnson, he can come down and play in the box. He can play. He plays like a Malcolm Jenkins type safety. You can move him all over. You don't have to keep him in one position on the back end. What?
One guy who's my sleeper. Who could come in and play right now? Sidney Brown from Illinois.
You like him?
Yes, 5'10". Not a big guy, but he's a 210.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But he's a 4.4 guy. He can run a 4.4. He can cover. He can play deep safety. I like him a lot, man. So he's my sleeper. He's my sleeper guy.
Okay.
What about the kid at Alabama that doesn't get the notoriety Branch does, Jordan Battle?
Another good guy.
See, he doesn't get the notoriety that Branch does, but he's a solid player.
That could be your later pick at safety.
Yeah, he's a solid player. You notice that when you talk about the linebackers and the safeties this year, there are not many that are mentioned as first-round potentials.
Nope.
These are all second, third, fourth, fifth-round type guys.
Yes.
Now, you can find a star in those rounds, no question about it. We see it happen. But I'm surprised that those two positions, especially linebacker, that there are not more linebackers that are considered first-round picks this year.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
all right, well, let's dig some linebackers. Let's dig into it a little bit here. There's the kid Henley out of Washington State, who's in by a lot of spots ranked 1. I may go Jack Campbell, who a lot of people have 2 or 3
from Iowa.
Who yeah. I admittedly I saw him play a lot more than I saw Henley play this year. I like a lot. Drew Sanders out of Arkansas. Nick Herbig's got to be Nate's brother. I didn't check that, but he's got to be his brother.
He is.
Out of Wisconsin. There's Trenton Simpson out of Clemson. There's
he's
Dorian
my guy. I like him too.
Yeah, I know you always bring him up, Barry. Go ahead.
Yep.
Yeah. What do you like best about him?
He can run, man. He's the smallest on the smaller side, but he can run. He can tackle. He can play inside. He can play outside. You know, he's a 4-3 linebacker in all the sense of the word. You know, so he's a really good player. Jack Campbell, he's one of those guys you put on his team and you just give him a jersey and tell him to go. You know what I'm saying?
Tell him to put his head through a brick wall.
That's all you just tell him to go. You tell him where to be, how to get there, and he's gonna make it happen. Mm-hmm. That's what you get from Jack Campbell, man. I mean, he flashes, man. He flashes all the time. Reminds me a lot of oh my goodness,
Kuechly.
Kuechly? Not Kuechly. No, he's a Hall of Famer now, but I'm talking about earlier in his career.
Zach Thomas,
from the Bears.
The Bears.
Urlacher.
Yeah. Brian Urlacher. I played against Urlacher early in his career when he was a safety,
right?
At New Mexico State or
he
New Mexico.
Returned punts too.
Yeah, so he was a safety. He got to the league and he bulked up. And reminds me a lot in his early career. Jack Campbell. Not saying he's going to be sure. I'm not saying that, but early in his career, that's the way Jack Campbell looked. That's the way he looks. So, what's his name? Deion Henley.
Yes,
he's a former wide receiver. Deion Henley. He's a former wide receiver.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
A former wide receiver that they just couldn't find a place for him. They just knew he was an athlete. They put him on the defensive side of the ball, started him on safety. They put him in a box, and all of a sudden he just grew into a starting linebacker, outside linebacker. He's always around the ball, intense. I like him. From the linebacker position, all these guys are second day guys. Yeah. They're all second day guys. Mm-hmm. With the exception, I think that Drew Sanders could go late first just because he has size. He's like 6'5", 235, 240.
You think Henley and Campbell are second days too?
Yeah. I think so.
Okay.
I think Simpson is the only one that has a chance to go in the first round.
Interesting.
I think he's the only one. Now, because I watch a lot of the Big Ten football, I get to see a lot of this Campbell kid. You know, he's a big boy, 6'5", 245 pounds. And he's not great when it comes to lateral pursuit, but if he gets his hands on you, he's going down. He don't miss tackle.
Absolutely. Takes the right read.
Yes. Yeah. And when it comes to blowing up gaps, this dude, he's fearless, man. He'll split a gap in a minute. He's strong as I don't know what, but and I would love him. He would be a great fit on the inside to replace like a TJ Edwards. If you could get him, I think he would be a perfect fit in that spot. He's more so an inside than an outside type guy.
Well, he's definitely an inside guy.
Yeah,
definitely an inside guy. But he's gonna run. He's gonna put his helmet right through the guard's coming up, going to hit block him. He's gonna put his helmet right through his chest and run straight through him.
Which means he could be concussion prone for a lot of his career. I'm just saying that's the way he plays the game. Yeah. He's just reckless, man. It's like if you're an offensive lineman, you're thinking, I don't want to block this dude today. I really don't.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you talk about NFL caliber guy, that's an NFL caliber guy. And the guy that runs well, the guys that run well are Henley, Sanders, and Simpson. If you want middle linebackers that's going to run through you, TJ Edward-esque type of players, guys like Larry Foote, you know what I'm saying, those type of players, you go to Jack Campbell, you go to, guys like Herbig, those type of guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It depends on what your flavor is.
Right.
On your defense. Each guy brings something different to the table. Like you want a hard-nosed kid, you can just line up there and play him for the rest of his career and play that middle linebacker position and say, hey, just go play. Jack Campbell's your guy. If you want a guy that's can run, be a guy that, go out and defend the pass a little bit. Then you got guys like Drew Sanders, Hindley. You can play guys like that. Simpson can play the will linebacker just as good as anybody in the league. So yeah, it depends really what your flavor of the month is.
Okay.
From the linebacker position.
Let's jump, guys, back into the league itself and pick it up where we were, if you don't mind. Unless you guys want to dig a little bit more into the linebackers.
Yes, I mind.
All right, Derek, go. No. All right. So we did yesterday. We worked our way we probably should have gone backwards, but we didn't. Whatever. We went 1 through 19. So we're going to pick it up in the first round with Seattle at 20. So keep in mind, it's not the full 32 because I forget somebody lost their draft. Who lost their draft pick? Miami? No.
Somebody got
Miami lost it. Yes, Miami.
Was it the whole Flores thing? The tampering?
Yeah, Miami lost theirs. Miami got it for talking to the quarterback, talking Brady.
Right.
Yeah, they lost it.
Okay. So let's pick it up then at 19 with the Bucks now, or I'm sorry, with 20 with Seattle. Seattle had a nice turnaround last year, 9-8 after, when I honestly had them in the bottom 5 in the league. That's what I thought they were going to be. So they really turned it around. Geno Smith played extremely well. Here's the interesting part, guys. Geno Smith plays well. They give him a new deal. They got his deal done relatively quickly. But does that preclude them from taking a quarterback if one of these guys happen to fall to where they're picking, either Levis or somebody else who's maybe on the back end of the foursome? You think they could take a quarterback? And if not a quarterback, what position do you think they take?
What I mean, what at this point you're looking at, where the draft is. I don't think that they do. Okay. Do you think they do? I mean, at this point,
I don't. I do not. No, I do not.
I mean,
here's what I do. If I'm them, I give Geno this year. I believed in him enough that I gave him that contract. If it's disastrous, which I don't think it's going to be, then I reapproach it next year. But I try to fill my other voids than doing that. I'm not drafting quarterback if I'm them, and certainly not in the first round.
But that's what teams have been doing lately. You know what I'm saying? Drafting quarterbacks in spite of them having a quarterback there. Like we just talked about the Raiders possibly getting a quarterback, and they just went out and got Jimmy G. It's tough. I can also see Atlanta getting them a quarterback. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
At this point, because they don't know about their quarterback situation yet. Do I see? They gave him some change. What was it? 3 years, 120 million, something like that, 130 million.
Like that. Yeah. Yep.
Do they go out there and do that? That's tough, man. That's really tough.
I can't see Seattle taking a quarterback at 20. I can't. You're taking a project.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you have more needs. You have one of the worst defenses in the league, and somehow because of your offense and the surprise of Geno Smith, which he parlayed into a nice contract, they finished above sea level when nobody thought they would win more than 5 or 6 games. You've got offense. You got to keep building.
What quarterback do you draft there?
I think this is I think Seattle still needs to look at the defense. I don't know what quarterback you would even consider at that spot. I think you look in the later rounds and try to find somebody you can slowly groom.
Like the kid from Tennessee.
There you go. Okay.
The kid from Tennessee. That. He's hurt right now.
Hendon Hooker.
Hendon Hooker, yeah. You might
get him in the middle
he
round.
Could be a great value pick, man.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So,
but see, you look at the money Seattle spent on defense. They're bringing Bobby Wagner back. They went out and they brought Jerron Reed back from Green Bay. They went out and got Draymond Jones as a defensive lineman. You got to keep building that defense. They still need a safety. They need a linebacker. They need an edge rusher. They need a corner. So you got to focus there. That's their biggest. Their offense can score. Geno showed you he can run. He can run Pete Carroll's offense and score. You got to have somebody who can stop the ball a little bit more. They may win 11 games this year.
Wow. And I think, they're in a tough division because San Francisco's in that division. I'm not saying it's an easy division, but you look at the rest of it. I'm not believing the Rams make a comeback. I don't buy the Cardinals a little bit. So, you could very well find yourself being a wild card again.
I'm gonna give you my pick if I was them. I need to get Brian Branch from Alabama, or I would go with Banks from Maryland. Either a corner or a safety. You got Branch or Banks. You get you a corner, you're good. This kid is fast. He's big, 6 foot, 200 pounds. Or you get the safety that's a hybrid safety corner, in Banks. And that would be overdrafting Banks, but it'd be a solid pick for them.
Okay.
Solid pick for them. So I would that's what I would do.
All right. Let's jump to the Chargers. And we know that there's talent there. We that much we know. And the quarterback is legit. He's got good weapons. There would appear to be a need for me at either offensive line.
Absolutely.
I think is definitely an area that I would consider addressing first if I'm them. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you my other one in a minute. But yeah, let's start there because he took a beating, man. He took a beating last year.
He got
by the way, I know he's gigantic. I don't care how big he is. This is going to start to take its toll. You're going to see this guy missing serious time soon.
It's almost like Ben.
Yeah.
Ben was the same way. But this is where the guy we talked about yesterday that I said was pretty good from Tennessee. This is Darnell White.
Wright. Yep.
Darnell Wright.
Yeah.
6'6", 330 pounds, moves, cat quick, get up on the second level, drive you off the rock, great pass blocker. This is where Darnell Wright becomes that staple opposite of the kid from Northwestern and start having one of the best lines in the NFL. With those two anchoring the tackles, because last year they lost both of their tackles.
Yeah.
So Darnell Wright, get him out there. This will be a good pickup for them. This will be a great pickup for them in the first round.
Yeah.
He's probably the second best offensive lineman in this draft. That's how good this kid is. Second best offensive lineman.
They do need to fix that offensive line in a hurry. You can't let your franchise quarterback get his brains beat out like that. Now, of course, you could say, hey, look, Joe Burrow got his brains beat out. He led him to a Super Bowl, and he led him deep into the playoffs again last year. But you want your quarterback upright and breathing. You don't want them to take unnecessary shots. Look at how shell-shocked Carson Wentz became once the Eagles' offensive line was decimated, and they didn't address it the following year properly, and it happened 2 years in a row for him. Now, when you have a defense like that, and they've already added Eric Kendricks on that defense and Morgan Fox to the defensive line, you have the weapons offensively. Running back suspects because you don't know what's going to happen with Austin Eckler. But you've got to put that umbrella around your franchise quarterback who has one of the strongest arms in the National Football League, one of the most accurate arms in the National Football League. You've got to put that 5-man umbrella around him to allow him to do his thing. You can't keep letting people take shots from him coming at all different angles because he's going to be like that rabbit out of the brush. He's going to be flushed out of the pocket a lot sooner than he wants to, get off his spot a lot sooner than he wants to. So I do believe the offensive line is where they need to go first.
I think later. I'm not saying first round. I certainly don't mean that. But if Eckler's out of there, they got to look at running back at some point, which you can get
absolutely.
Later. But they
there's enough running backs there's enough running backs in every draft. You can get a decent running back.
Yeah.
You get him in the second round. You've got to start. Once you have your franchise quarterback, what's the next step? How do you protect him? How well do you protect him? You've got to
pay him too.
That approach.
They're about to pay him too.
You're about to pay him. Yes.
You better think about getting him. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people mess up because they go out and they get they get
weapons first.
Weapons for him and don't protect them. It doesn't make sense half the time, man. But hey, I guess.
All right, let's jump now. We just did the Chargers. Let's move ahead. Ravens. Ravens.
Yeah.
So, all right, look, there's a lot to dive into here. Let's assume for a minute Lamar's back, which is who knows. But if you're assuming he's back, we could do two things. Let's do one with Lamar back and one without Lamar. Okay. With Lamar back, I'm looking to get him a receiver.
Yep.
I'm looking to get playmakers, man, because other than the tight end, I am not loving what's going on there.
They traded away Hollywood Brown.
Yep.
The rest of the receivers are they like to talk about it, but they're not being about it, man. Like that's the darndest thing I've ever seen with a team that has no weapons on the outside. They brought back D-Jax, and D-Jax was done after the second game.
Yeah.
Pulled a hamstring after the second game. So who's he throwing to? Let me look at the roster here, man.
Well, a big loss to them too is losing the offensive guard Ben Powers. That's a huge loss for them.
Yep.
Yeah, that's Rashad Bateman. That's his name.
Bateman, yeah.
Talked all that crazy stuff and didn't do anything.
And doesn't he want out? I'm trying to remember. Wasn't he angry?
Yeah, they're trying to get him out. Yeah, they're trying to get him out.
Yeah.
They have Duvernay.
Yeah.
Andy Isabella, Mike Thomas.
Who couldn't make it in Arizona. So Andy Isabella means nothing to me.
Well, they brought back Nelly. Nelly's there now.
Okay.
So they got Nelly. They got Duvernay. He played okay. I mean, I like him. He played tough. You know what I'm saying? 13 often, jumped off the screen. But other than that, they don't have anything. Like, what direction would you go though?
Mm-hmm.
I would be inclined to get. I would go with a receiver, but like who? Would
it's
you
not a stellar receiver class.
No, it's not.
No.
Do you go with the kid that Hooker was throwing to?
Yeah, Hyatt.
Hyatt,
Yeah.
Jalen Hyatt.
I do like him.
I like him a lot. He's fast, but I don't know if I just bypass the kid from what was his name from Boston College?
Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers, yeah, Zay Flowers. I think I would go Zay Flowers before I went with him.
Yeah, well,
Zay Flowers, speed, but he's small. On the small side, though.
He's
right?
good though, man. He's good. I think if he played anywhere other than BC, he'd be getting a lot more love.
But but I know this kid doesn't want to go there because they don't throw the ball enough.
Yeah, receivers aren't dying to go there, man. It's where you end up going when you're Deshaun Jackson and you don't have a lot of other options.
Go with Quentin Johnston from TCU.
Oof. I have PTSD TCU. I do. Okay. RE has PTSD from TCU.
Right. I mean, that's the only thing we
because of JR. Okay.
We got JR.
Yeah.
Big V was from there though.
He wasn't trying to. We weren't throwing him the ball.
Another tackle too that went to San Fran. That went Indy to San Fran. Matt Pryor was from there also.
Yeah, I'm not totally anti. I just receivers from there. I think.
Yeah, let's just go. I would still go. Man, this guy's 6'3", 210. Yeah. Can run, can catch. I think that's That's definitely an easier pick to go with Quentin Johnston.
Okay.
He's probably the second best. No, he might be the number one receiver in the draft.
Yeah, I hear
well, number two in the draft.
I say it half in jest, but only half. Okay.
Yeah. Dang, Rob brutal to getting people fired from the Phillies.
I'm just giving you the truth. Just how my brain works, man.
But you know what they're gonna do, right? They're gonna go defensive lineman there.
They will. Because
they're gonna go Miles. Yeah, they're gonna go Miles Murphy. Watch what I tell you.
Yeah, Clemson. They still need some help in the secondary too.
Yeah, they do.
All right, let's move on. Vikings at 23. This would appear to be so. I think there's a couple things to keep in mind. One, they definitely need defensive help. They're getting old in their secondary for starters, but I think they need defensive help. They brought in Brian Flores, but also they did lose Thielen. I'm trying to remember.
Right.
Yep.
Did they Thielen went to Carolina, didn't he?
But they lost Peters too.
Yeah.
The cornerback. They lost Peters.
Yeah. Let me go on record saying I hope Minnesota gets nothing. Absolutely nothing.
The Marvin Guine effect.
That's a little personal there, man. That's personal.
I hope their first round pick turns out to be like Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, I hear you.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yes.
Well, you know what? I think I would go one of those two receivers. Whatever receiver that the Ravens don't get, I would get the opposite. So if they don't get Johnston, if they get Johnston, I'll get Flowers. If they get Flowers, I'll get Johnston.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
I hear you. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Let's move on to the Jaguars. The Jags, we touched on them a little bit yesterday. And what kind of season they had, obviously big turnaround season. Where are you going for them? A team certainly on the ascension here. They
defense.
I would say offensive line. They got to find a way to replace Jawan Taylor.
Oh, did he leave?
Oh yes, they lost Jawan Taylor, and you got to find a play to replace that tackle. Again, you got to keep that kid down there upright and breathing. Their defense was not bad. They're a young, aggressive defense.
Yep.
And now that Ridley is activated, they got plenty of pass catchers.
Oh, they don't need offense.
Yeah, they don't need offense, but they do need alignment. And their defense is young. I mean, their defense is not an old defense, and they played well. I mean, they didn't play well in that sloppy game against the Eagles, but for the most part, they played pretty well. They're a very fast defense, very fast, aggressive defense. I need that cornerstone tackle to replace Taylor.
That makes sense.
Well, I mean, I think the only guy that's left, because we've already drafted right. The only guy that's left is Anton Harrison from Oklahoma. You know, okay. he's got all the measurables: 6'5", 315. You know, offensive linemen from Oklahoma usually do very well. So I mean, I would go to Anton Harrison.
Okay. Let's go Giants. Giants picking at 25. Giants are another team that could still use playmakers in a big way. Could use an offensive lineman. Could use some secondary help. They lost Julian Love.
Yep.
But they lost receivers too. They lost receivers. They lost receivers. They lost Jordan, left tackle. They lost a DB. They've lost a lot, man. They've lost a lot. So what direction they go? Because Juju, you remember Juju's gone now. Brown is gone now, and all was the line. Oh man,
Darius Toney is gone. Wow. They resigned some pass catchers, but
no. They kept their tackle. I'm sorry. We're talking about the Giants.
We're talking about the Giants.
Oh no, they got both of their tackles, but they lost all their receivers. They lost
their guard. They
need playmakers. They're like the Ravens. They need playmakers.
They need playmakers.
They also need a center fielder on the back end of that defense.
Yeah, they lost Julian Love. That's a big deal. I think the problem, again, are you reaching for a receiver? If you're them, can you get value later? Do you address somewhere else? That's really the question you're asking yourself. If you're New York and Dable, but you do have to give Daniel Jones more than you gave him last season.
Yeah,
for sure. Would they? Well, maybe they go tight end.
Oh,
maybe if Mayer's sitting there, or
not bad.
Kincaid.
Not bad idea.
Maybe that's an option. Or quarterback's best friend.
Or they go Hyatt. You know, if they didn't pick up Hyatt, maybe they do go Hyatt.
Could do that. All right, this gets interesting here now. As we motor here through the second round. So let's go Dallas 26.
I hope they get nothing. You already know who I think. I think I got a bad feeling.
You think Bijan's still going to be there, and you think that he ends up there?
I got a bad feeling in my gut.
We haven't picked. Nobody's picked him up yet, right?
Not what we've been doing. Yeah.
No.
Wait, man, does he last that long? 26? You're right. You know what? Tone's right. I'm sorry. The Giants traded for Waller. My bad on the tight end thing.
Oh, you're right. Yep.
You're correct. Dallas. All right. So if it's not Bijan, because they did franchise Pollard.
Another pass catcher?
Well, they let Schultz go.
Because they traded for Cooks.
Yeah, they
let Schultz go, though.
Yeah, they need a tight end. Good point.
They let Schultz go. So, I mean, who's left at tight end? We already
Mayer went and Kincaid went.
Kincaid already went. We already said they're gone.
They still have some holes on defense, too. Let's not make any mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
They can also use some offensive line help. I mean, think about it. They lost Connor McGovern, who was their center. They need a center. Wow. The defense was okay, but they can always use more defensive help. They brought back some key components to that defense in Donovan Wilson and Leighton Vander Esch. Man, I don't know. With Dallas, I'm going to stick with my initial theory. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm 1,000% wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I got a feeling they're going to go with their kid. Bijan is going to upset everybody in the Philadelphia region, no matter who the Eagles take.
I think they go with a guy you spoke highly of from Ohio State. The big tackle, man. They got an Asian
Paris
tackle.
Johnson.
Oh,
No. DeJuan Jones.
Yeah, the ones was he 6'7", 6'8", something like that.
6'8", yeah, 6'8", 370 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they don't have at this point. You know how old their starting left tackle is, or starting right tackle now. Starting right tackle is, and he's never healthy. So that'll make a good that'll be a good move for them to go with a tackle. You know what I'm saying, and picking up instead of Smith. He's been there forever in a Sunday. So I think they go with tackle. I think they go with offensive lineman. They go with tackle.
Okay.
Let's go. DeJuan Jones.
DeJuan Jones. Let's go. Buffalo Bills.
Wow. They need offensive guard help. They need center help.
Yeah.
They
see, when they're making a run on offensive lineman.
Yeah.
They need receiver
help.
Only
Need
also.
somebody to go around. Oh no. Buffalo signed Connor McGovern, so they took care of the center position. Let's see.
They need weapons, don't they?
They need linebackers. They lost Tremaine Edmonds.
That's right.
They need a linebacker.
Oh,
that's right.
I think that sounds about right. Yeah, that makes sense. Linebacker makes sense for them. Big year for them, as we talked about. Cincinnati. Do you keep strengthening that offensive line?
I think they've done that. I think they got to get a safety. They lost their safety.
Well, they signed Orlando Brown.
Yeah.
But they lost Jesse Bates. They lost the other safety, Von Bell.
Yeah, they need a safety.
They need a safety bad.
Mm-hmm.
So they lost tight end Hayden Hurst. They lost Samaj P. Ryan, also running. Now, they're not taking a running back. No. But they definitely need a safety at that spot.
Yeah, makes sense. Let's go New Orleans. This is the pick that comes from San Francisco through Miami and Denver. So this is a lot of twists and turns here for the New Orleans Saints. I don't think they go receiver. I don't think they're going quarterback. This could be
I think an edge
O-line.
I think an edge rusher.
Yeah, I think so. It's also,
they lost Caden Ellis. They lost Marcus Davenport.
Yeah, you're right.
They lost Sky Tuttle.
Lost Streets.
Lost Streets. Yeah, I think they go edge rusher here.
Edge makes sense. Edge makes sense. All right, we're at the Eagles. I think are we all in agreement? They're not sitting there at 30. Something happens. They're going down in the second round.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we can jump then. Let's just go Kansas City for the last one.
They need a tackle.
They do need it. They lost Wiley, but
they signed Jawan Taylor.
They signed Jawan Taylor. Yeah.
They also
do they have enough? Do they have enough receivers?
No,
they lost Juju.
Right.
That
makes sense.
They need running. They lost a running back too. They lost Jerick McKinnon, didn't they?
They did lose. They still have Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, right?
Yeah, they do. Wide receiver's not a bad choice. An edge rusher because they cut Frank Clark, didn't they?
Yep.
Yes.
So they need people, and they need more D linemen.
And Andy,
you got to replace Clark.
Yeah, Andy's that same philosophy the Eagles have is started with Andy and Banner. So he always think trenches. Always.
Yep.
You know what? I think they go with Kalijah Kancey.
Yes.
He'd be great right there. Right in the middle of the mix.
Mm-hmm.
They can put him inside and outside.
Yeah,
he would definitely be a Andy pick to come in and just wreak havoc in the interior of that offense.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you guys tomorrow. We did safeties and linebackers today. What position do you guys want to do tomorrow? It doesn't have to be geared towards the Eagles. It can be whatever position you want. You want to go chalk and go quarterbacks tomorrow? Do our top 10?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, the first three are obvious, but it gets interesting after that. And
I think it does too.
I think the number 4 quarterback is Anthony Richardson is the most controversial, and the most intriguing one out of the bunch once you get past the first three, who people consider the consensus first three are.
Yeah,
I think it's the first two are obvious. Then it starts getting interesting.
Like if you talk about just pure passer, I think Hendon Hooker is probably up there too. I mean,
It's a shame he blew out his knee. That's a shame.
Yeah.
Kid. Yep.
So he would have been in the mix.
Okay. All right. I like it. We'll do quarterback tomorrow. We will certainly do that. All right. Let's come back and a bunch of stuff we didn't get to, which we'll move down, we'll incorporate into this segment. We'll do that. We'll do some birthdays. We'll do some movies, all those good things. When we return, don't go anywhere. Final segment going strong. Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Derek, Barrett, Rob. All right. Let's talk a little Razor technology and cybersecurity specifically, because protecting data is a security imperative for businesses of all sizes. Choose a partner like Razor Technology with expertise in the latest threats and proactive tools to lock down every endpoint with a zero trust approach that makes certain only authorized users gain access to your systems. Razor delivers enterprise-wide insight into every component of a security plan across identity devices, information, apps, and infrastructure with threat-prioritized recommendations. They design, deploy, manage, and monitor security solutions that enable modern business to safely communicate, collaborate, and thrive in the modern marketplace, whether they're working in person or remotely, on internal infrastructure or in the cloud, and in every possible hybrid arrangement. Choose Razor Technology to protect your digital assets, establish an organization-wide security posture, and force safe practices for identity and access management and secure hybrid and remote workforces. Call Razor Technology today at 866-797-3282, 866-797-3282, or visit them online at razor-tech.com. That's razor